is the appeal has been granted, and then it's supposed to be limited to nothing to do with how Julian is, but hopefully what America can do. And then America has come and said, well, we'll be nice to him and we'll allow it. We'll put his.
We won't torture him.
We'll put make his custody in Australia even. They can change their mind any time.
Yep. Yes.
I've heard the appeal is limited to legal technical questions, so they can't review any of the evidence. They can only review the process of the court hearings. That's what I've heard. So if that's the case, they won't be taking any new evidence as to where he'll be kept in America. They'll just be reviewing Judge Barait's handling of the matter. So if she's made an error that prejudices the United States of America in the legal process, then they may have grounds to have the matter reheard, as I understand it.
Yep.
But I can't imagine.
How going to last?
Well, they haven't even announced when the appeal will be heard.
I know.
And they haven't given a decision on whether Julian's appeal will be heard.
But they're saying about torture, this is psychological torture England's doing.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's not in question at the moment, unfortunately.
Well,
that's a future case.
Well, it's public opinion. It's important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but that's pressure on
the legal thing is a farce anyway. It's just.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is about the legalities. And as we know, the legality's been completely bastardized. And ultimately the decision, I think everybody agrees, it's a political matter and it will be a political decision. And ultimately it'll depend on Biden dropping the charges. And I would imagine with this star witness falling over, that would be getting closer.
Well, yeah, I think we also need to include the people. The people political decisions will be based on what they can get away with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the people that have to make their voices heard as much as possible.
So is there a way of us ramping it up where, as far as we're not kicked off the street? Like protests about Biden or?
I don't know. I
think our job remains just to bring people's, raise awareness. At the end of the day, that's kind of our job. Our job's not to put pressure on politicians. It's not to put direct pressure on politicians. It's to put pressure on politicians through raising the awareness of this case and bringing more people in support of Julian Assange, so that at the next election, if politicians start mentioning the name Julian Assange, that'll start affecting the vote.
But how long is the next election? How long is our federal?
Well, it'll be next year at the latest. But it could be this year. People have suggested that he'll bring on an early election because things are going the wrong way for him. So the sooner he holds it, the better chance he's got of holding on to power.
Yeah.
So it could be, September.
The federal MPs did that thing the other day, last week? Where the video.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be nice to get the state politicians doing it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a gathering in Tasmania? Because
There would be.
No, Christine Milne that's one politician that she's supportive of Julian. Christine Milne.
Is she on the group though?
She's not in the. She's an ex-politician. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She's on. She's quite a few times. She's said things in support of Julian.
Okay, I'll put her on the ex-parliamentarians list.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few people in Tasmania that, well, Andrew Wilkie is a Tasmanian as well.
Yes,
Well, no,
yes.
the most important Tasmanian federal parliamentarian at the moment is what's her name?
Bridget.
Yeah,
Bridget.
my gorgeous Bridget Archer.
Yeah.
She's Liberal. She's the one and only Liberal federal parliamentarian. She's broken ranks. See, that'll be another thing that'll be making Scotty a bit anxious about the next election. He's already lost one of his Liberal people,
Yes.
and his deputy PM, who's Nationals, is a paid up member of the Bring Julian Assange Home group.
Oh, is he?
Yes, Barnaby Joyce.
Wow.
And let me tell you more about Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby Joyce was responsible for bringing David Hicks back home. I don't know whether you remember David Hicks was.
Oh, yeah, yep, for sure. Yeah.
And his father was a bit like John Shipton. His father was running around talking to everybody. And ultimately, apparently, the thing that tipped the scales that I've heard is that he took a cage down to Martin Place and dressed up in an orange jumpsuit and did the Guantanamo, like we did. That actually was what was behind inspiring me to do that same thing when I heard that.
Was cut out of Julian.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely wonderful, because everybody, if we got the same, height as Julian,
Yeah.
made it sort of look that 3D sort of look. So many people would love their photos. Now, if they have their photo, they're going to put that up. So if we could take their cameras, and so one on a Friday night could take a photo, like one there being, you want a photo with Julian? Give us your camera. So they would put that out on social media.
We should also get copies of that same photo so we can assemble, if we got, say, 16 or 20 photos of people standing beside Julian Assange holding their fist up.
Yes,
we could put those in a grid pattern, and post a bit like the the one with the politicians.
Yes.
To show a matrix of people at town hall that have done that would look very.
Now, how much would that cost to
Well, Max will do it for free. I'll probably have to buy a bit of plywood.
Yep.
The right 6 foot high or whatever.
Yep.
And I've got lots of bits of wood. I can turn it into a stand.
Well, what I was thinking, with the way to hold it up, because we're going to have wind, and generally we have a bit of wind.
Yep.
Anything over, but we can tie it to the balustrade on the flat part that goes in front of the banners.
Yes, yep.
We could get some of those elastic things with hooks on the ends.
Hockey straps.
Yep.
Hockey straps.
So
just tie it so that the base is fixed, and then it should be solid enough not to be blown over.
Yep.
No, I love it.
So we need a full size.
Yeah, we've got to get a good image. Yeah.
Sorry?
We need a good image of Julian to base it on. And then I'll just deliver the bit of plywood to Max. He can paint it up, and then I can get a fret saw and go around the edge of it and mount it on a stand.
I've been looking into the thing with Donald Trump being the person of free speech, because he's fighting against his ban on all the social medias. And I've been comparing that to how Julian Assange is a journalist who didn't commit any crime. And Donald Trump was the person who was leading his extradition. So I was comparing that. So how is he the person who's the face of freedom of speech? I'll send an email when I have all of my facts right.
Now, that's the only full-length one that I know of Julian. But maybe, but then again, you've got those bars in front of him. But I can't find any that are full length.
But I reckon the artist could probably fill in that gap.
Fill in the gaps.
There are a few full length ones. But
yes.
Like with his legs crossed and different things.
Now we want a picture of him standing, full length standing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but we could use that, the one that Emma just showed, or a different one to that. But we can, it's not that important. His legs are not, there's not really much in legs.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody has a different kind of body language and stance. And when you're looking at a full length cardboard cutout, it's really important that you get that posture right.
Well, there are some, there's some of him standing on the balcony.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And, but.
So the balcony,
but they're generally shots looking up at him. We don't want shots looking up at him. We want shots looking straight at him.
Yes, yeah. You've got that one, but that one's not that great.
No,
that's not bad. I think we definitely need his legs in the shot though to make it really, it's got to be the sort of thing you can see at a glance and it's him.
Yes. I think the ones he had his hair really short there, but with his hair longer. I think there was a long one in jail, but we won't use that one.
No.
See, it would be good. I think people would like to have a young one, like the young-looking one.
Well, look,
not too young.
I think it's the more important thing is to get just a really classic shot of him full length standing so that it's kind of recognizable as a silhouette. When you get those sort of shots that are really typical of someone's sort of stance, they might stand in a certain way.
Yes.
I think it's important we get that real classic Julian stance.
See, that one I think doesn't depict him.
Hands in pockets, not a good look for what we want. Because but look, it'll be a matter of just doing a Google search, Julian Assange full-length images or something,
well, I've done that.
That one's a good one.
Yeah.
That one's a nice one.
Again, no legs.
Yeah, well, he's got to have legs somewhere.
I think it's important because the artist does not have him. So the artist is working, it can only work from a picture. And I think the picture's got to include his legs because we've got to get the proportions right. And as I say, that sort of whatever his stance is. So, we're probably going to have to hunt around.
Because the one on the balcony, that didn't have.
Well, again, it's a low
balcony in front.
Yeah, and it's a low perspective. It's looking up at him. We want something that's looking straight eye to eye at him. It's too washed out. I can't make it out. Yeah, take it back. Take it back further. No, there's too much white in it. Can't.
Oh, Jesus.
What is it?
They've depicted Julian as Jesus on the cross.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, that's not bad.
Okay, I'll just share this one. It's not fully his legs,
Yeah.
so you can.
See, that sort of shot would be great.
Except he'd
Oh.
have to.
In fact,
Yes.
It's got the outline. Once you've got I think that would be enough. I'm sure you could just make up the legs.
yeah, but
Yes.
I'm not sure if I agree. I would be looking when he did the that Afghan thing video release, when he was talking about releasing that, he was standing on a short little stage and he was speaking there. If you can find some shots from there, which I can go and have a look now if you want.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, Dom.
well, we don't have to find it now.
We don't have to find them now.
No, this can be homework for all of us to find the best shot. And I know that video, Ryan. I was only watching it the other day. I think it was 2010 or something, or 2011, and he was talking at a gathering in London somewhere. It was a fantastic speech.
That's a nice one.
It was when he first coined that. Yeah, but again, it's not full length. I think it's really important full length, because as much as it's about the face, it's also about the body language.
Yes, yes.
Look, we'll come up with something.
Yep.
It's going to be a couple of weeks before we can get back on the town hall steps. And when we do, we've got this monster behind me. I mean, I'll just roll back to give you an idea of how big this portrait is.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I mean, it's like 7 feet high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The person that's had their photo taken with their camera will then post it on their Facebook page and put a comment, I met Julian Assange at town hall today, or something, either, or me at town hall with the Julian Assange group or something. I mean, they'll do the notarization of it in their own way. Have you seen that little animation? Oh, here it is.
Oh, that one by Caitlin Johnson.
Yeah. Caitlin Johnson did this little, it's a little animation with some prose. It's not showing very well. It's on it's on our Facebook page, and it's got music. It's got music, and it's got like.
Lay my eggs right here, she said, placing some dry grass on the
And it's written from the duck's point of view. But since that was published, which was the first inkling I saw of it, I thought it was just a made-up thing. But apparently there are actually a pair of ducks nesting on Julian's windowsill. And, like he's become the Birdman of Belmarsh.
Wow.
But the birds are ducks, and they've built a nest and they've laid eggs in the nest. Barnaby Joyce apparently used a writ of habeas corpus to get David Hicks out of Guantanamo Bay.
Well, why not with Julian?
Absolutely. But mind you, things have changed between David Hicks and Julian Assange. I mean, the flouting of the due process in the courts is ridiculous. I mean, Julian's now won his case more than 6 months ago. The case against him, evidence has come to light that the only thing that America was hanging its hat on with respect to drawing a difference between Julian Assange and the New York Times was this so-called whistleblower from Iceland that claimed that Julian Assange helped him hack into the United States, and they could paint him as a hacker as opposed to a publisher who just received information from an anonymous source and passed it on to the public because he believed it was in the public interest. which is the case with Julian Assange. We all know that now. It's all been court documented. The evidence is there. So we know that he wasn't a hacker, that he didn't have anything to do with hacking into it. And the only source that claimed that he had has now come out publicly and said that he lied to get immunity from prosecution. I don't know what has inspired him to do that, because he sounds like a pretty disreputable character, one that, you know, you really can't trust anything that he says, because, you know, he's obviously a proper, you know, they talk about Julian being a narcissist, but this character is definitely a very troubled character. You know, he's a convicted pedophile. He's convicted of fraud. He's convicted.
But I can't believe they're calling Julian a narcissist. Like, he's so far from a narcissist, it's not funny.
Well, that
He's
one.
so opposite.
Well, they've dropped that one, and it's all.
They still use it in a sense, because they say whatever you think of Julian Assange.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. It's referring back to he's a terrible bloke.
Exactly.
It's the old, if there's smoke, there's fire, you know.
Yeah.
People, there's a certain stickiness to bad news about people that the smell lingers basically for the rest of their life.
Yes.
Their lives. And certainly that's the case with Julian, you know, until the day, you know, if he lives to 100 years of age, there'll be people in 50 years that are saying, oh yeah, but you know, he's probably not a nice character. He probably wasn't, you know, like people.
Yes, exactly.
They do. Once they've had the propaganda pumped into their brain changes its structure.
All this evidence has got to be presented to a court. It's a fair court. It's got to be. Julian's fate will be decided in court. So you got to have a court which is so competent, independent, and impartial. It's got to be a tribunal established by law, and all these ingredients or requirements are not being adhered to. He's not come before a common law court, never in a million years. They won't allow it. So until we can re-establish our rights to a common law court, where justice is administered by a jury, there's no hope for anyone. Every single issue must be decided where it must be decided, in a court, and a genuine, fair and just court. But he's not being allowed that, and that's the whole idea, of course, of the habeas corpus, to present the body into a court which has got appropriate jurisdiction. And that's why the Governor-General doesn't want to know, because we are not being, even in Australia, we're not being allowed justice in Australia. It's the same thing applying over there.
We are now slaves, John. I mean, what you said. No, absolutely. I mean, at the present moment, there are 5 million people in Greater Sydney under house arrest.
I've got a book.
If that's not slavery, if that's not,
that's the key word. In fact, at the moment, about to publish a book, and it's on slavery and so forth, and Julian gets a mention. Hopefully, they'll hit the stands in about 4 or 5 weeks.
Slavery where, John?
Pardon?
Slavery where?
Slavery generally in Australia or whatever, and so I've been fairly quiet because I put this book together. I've got a company in Adelaide who are doing the publishing, and so
what's the title of the book, John?
It's called Jackals of Slavery and How to Defeat Them. It's not on the stands yet. I'm still having conversations with the graphic designers and editors and so forth. So that's what it's called. I did a book 20 years ago called Banks and Judges, which is a pretty boring sort of thing because they're court cases and so forth. But this one here I've taken an overall view and put all the elements together. And Julian Assange is a symptom of we're being subject to slavery.
Well, he's the ultimate slave, isn't he?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Have you mentioned him in your book?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And when and how is it being published, John?
Well, it's a firm down in Adelaide, and they're very cooperative and so forth. So, yeah, no, I've put together the transcript about 2 months ago now, and sent it to them. They said yes, I'll publish it, and so we've done the covers and all that sort of stuff. It's just a matter of getting it out there, and
so it'll be printed.
Yeah, a regular book. You know, like my first book.
Banks and Judges.
Yes, yeah.
That's the first one. So it'll be a sort of a follow-up, but more broadly.
Yeah, you've broadened your spectrum.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so when I've got that in my hand, I'll be going around hitting people over the head with it. The principles in it apply very much to Australia and very much in England, very much in America and all that sort of stuff.
We are all Assange.